Hi everyone, it's Ed from Runnable. So yesterday I did my double run. So Thursday is generally for me my double run day. So because I've done a few marathons now, I've incorporated a day where I actually do a morning run or a lunchtime run and then an evening run. So uh, this time I decided to do a lunchtime run in Battersea Park near where I work because logistically that made sense, and also an evening run closer to home. I was going to run with my club, but I actually got home, had stuff to do with the kids, and also fancied going to the gym and doing a proper stretch and massage. So I decided to run on my own, a bit antisocial. But sometimes you need just to fit around life, as we all probably have to do from time to time. And yesterday I ran in the Superblast. Now, I know there's a second version of this, which I haven't got yet, and I'm really up in the air on whether I want to get that version or not. I've got another pair of these actually that haven't been used yet, so it seems a bit ridiculous to buy another pair of the second version. And part of the problem is, and it's not a bad problem, is that these never wear out. I mean, it's just like, I don't know how many miles I've got on this, but it's not seeing any degradation, or it's not losing any of its feel in foam. Everything seems as it was after about 50 miles. And the reason I say that is the Superblast does need breaking in, particularly if you're not a heavy runner. The first time you can use this, it can seem very firm, flat and hollow. It did for me. And surprisingly flat, actually, given it's got an 8mm drop, because you've got a 45mm stack height in the heel, 45 and a half in the heel, 37 and a half in the forefoot. So you've got this massive wedge of foam that keeps you nice and cushioned. But when you first use it, it's really hard and slappy, I found, and very hollow. I found it almost unusable. I could be coming back from injury and someone told me to get these. And when I first tried them, it was an ankle injury. I thought, oh my God, I can't wear these. But actually what I did is I put an insole in from another shoe on top of the existing insole, because it's got quite high volume, which I believe the second one maybe hasn't got as much volume. If you know a bit more about the second one, please put it in the comments. But I believe it's slightly more constricted and low volume upper. This one's nice and wide, as you can see, nice and wide. And it's got a nice volume, so I could afford to have an extra layer of insole in there. And that changed everything for me. It allowed me to run in the shoe and break it in properly. And after 50 miles for me, I know some people's less, depending on how heavy you are. I took the insole out, I could run with it normally. The foam had broken in. So just bear that in mind. If you've used this shoe and you didn't like it, and the reason you didn't like it is you just found it too firm and too hollow, try the insole trick. Trust me, it works. I suggested it to Joanna on his channel. He never got round to it, and he doesn't like this shoe, right? And I think part of the problem is because of how firm and unfriendly it feels at slower paces. So I basically wanted to give it a go. I didn't want to waste my money, so I did the insole trick, and it worked. So for me, I had to do that. I think it's because I'm not that heavy either, and I wasn't compressing the foam enough initially. And once it broke in, I got that nice little compression, decompression, and nice bounce from this. And now it's become one of the shoes that I look to use more often than not when I'm marathon training, because it is so light. I mean, for the size of it, it's like 250 grams. So of all the shoes around it, like the Ballast, the Mac X2, the Nova Blast, this Neo Vista, it's the lightest. The Neo Zen, which I'm looking to try and get hold of, actually is a similar sort of weight to this. The only thing with the Neo Zen from Mizuno is that it's a lot more of a slow run shoe, and it's a lot softer foam. This is a lot more versatile in the sense that if you once it's broken in, you can go slow in this shoe. I like it for walking as well, actually. But once, like I said, once broken in, you can go slow, but you can also take it up tempo. I've also raced in this shoe. I've done a 20-mile race, performed really well. You know, if someone said to me tomorrow I had to use this for a marathon, I wouldn't have any qualms whatsoever. So this would be a great marathon shoe, really good marathon shoe. I know lots of people who use this shoe for marathons. Performs really well. Very stable. It's got a big base. You're looking about the only downside with this shoe is the grip. You know, this rubber is not very tacky. And on wet surfaces, when I land, I feel like I'm slipping backwards a little bit, which means that on a wet surface, if you're racing in this shoe, it can feel a little bit inefficient, that it's not throwing you forward, you're slipping back a bit. So that, I would say, is the only downside of this shoe, because the upper's fine. Like it said, it's very malleable. It conforms to the size of your foot. So if your foot's a bit wide, it will give you that extra room that you need. The laces are fine. The tongue is fine. You've got this nice little circle here. You can see, you can cinch your laces on top of. No pressure on my top of my foot. Heel collar's firm, but it doesn't get in the way and doesn't hurt my heel whatsoever. And that's counter, sorry. And then the collar, you've got a nice bit of padding around the collar, which keeps your ankle nice and foot nice and locked in. And I have no heel slippage whatsoever with this shoe. So it really is just the grip that I have an issue with this shoe now that it's broken in. So anyway, for those of you that have had that problem with it being too firm, and you still got the shoe, you haven't sold it, try the insert. Make sure it's a thin one. It really does work. And then that might make this shoe a viable marathon training shoe for you. For me, yesterday, because I know I was doing those double runs, this was the perfect shoe. I could even put it on my feet and walk into the office with this shoe as well. So it's a bit mucky. That's the only thing. It's hard to clean. But by and large, very versatile. Use it for lots of different types of runs, including racing. I can't, up this shoe more than that. I just think it's just one of the best shoes out there. There are other shoes now that I find a bit more fun, like the Mach X2, Hoka Mach X2, like the Cielo, and like the Prime X2. For going long distance where I want to have a bit more fun, those shoes I think would be my pick before this. But if I want just a shoe just to get the job done, can't think of any better than this. That's all I want to say today. If you're doing double runs as well, let me know. I don't advise it for beginners. It's just too much taxing on your legs. But those who are a bit more experienced, if you throw in the odd double run, sorry, I think you can hear the washing machine beeping a lot, or is it the dryer? I'm not sure. But if you can throw in the odd double run, it's good for helping with your endurance, and also gets you used to running when you're a little bit fatigued, which I think is a really good thing to do. That's all I want to talk about today. Have a great weekend, everyone. Tomorrow I probably won't post any run footage. It's Friday. I don't tend to do much mileage at all on a Friday, maybe 5K, just to keep the legs going. And then I'll race a part run on Saturday. I'm going to test out the Adidas Pros under proper race conditions today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing's cancelled. And let's see how fast those shoes are. I've got a feeling they're going to be right up there with the Paris, Sky Paris, Edge Paris, that Chinese shoe, the 361 degrees Miro, and also the Wade Rebellion Beta. I think it'll be right up there, the Adidas Pro, if not better. It could be a good sign for being a really good marathon shoe for me. So that's all I want to say. Have a great weekend. I'll post the run footage. Well, I'll post the footage anyway of that part run, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, one last thing. I'm planning to go and see the Bob Dylan film tonight. If anyone's seen it and can recommend it, let me know in the comments. If it's not worth watching, please let me know in the comments. I can always back out of it. But I am looking forward to it. I think Timothée Chalamet is a good actor, and yeah, I can see him doing that well. But let me know in the comments, and save me a bit of money if it's rubbish. See you later. Bye bye. So a little bit of a gloomy day here in London, but I'm in a lovely park, so that doesn't matter. You can see the Thames to the left of me and all these lovely trees and vegetation to the right, and this large pathway that I'm running on. Perfect for doing a bit of marathon training, and perfect for letting my legs unwind a little bit, as I've been sitting in meetings all morning. So Thursday's my in the office day, and what tends to happen now, because I'm in only once a week, which is I'm a lucky boy, but what tends to happen is a lot of the face-to-face meetings obviously get stacked up on a Thursday, so I get very little time to come out for a run apart from the lunchtime. So I do a couple of circuits, a couple of loops of this, which should be around sort of 8k-ish, maybe 9k by the time I hit Waitrose for some lunch. But yeah, it's a lovely place to run around. Lots of races here, so I did a half marathon not that long ago here, and super flat, super fast. If you're looking for PBs, anyone who lives around the London area, pick a run through race here, and chances are, if you're running well, you'll PB or PR for you Americans. You get lots of different types of people running those races as well. It's a very young crowd, so extremely fast races normally. You get lots of people from the south of London, sort of Tooting, Balham, Clapham. Balham's where I used to live, and Tooting I lived, and yeah, places like that. They come here. A lot of them use the track here as well. There's a nice track you can use. Some of the races start and end where the track is actually, and so by and large, great place to come for a run. It's synonymous now for me with racing, this place, because I end up doing lots of races here. They've even started a park run here, which I'm yet to do. I've been kind of put off because of apparently it's very crowded. Often has over 1,000 runners. And I saw the other day, just to finish in the top 20, you've got to get into the 17s, which, you know, would often win you a park run, let alone, you know, top 20. So it just shows how good the standard is for the park run here as well as the races. So I currently did I did do a half marathon here recently, where I got a PB. I got 1:21. My previous PB was 1:22, so I took a minute off my PB, which, considering it was just after Christmas and I had not been training that hard, I was delighted with. Nice baseline effort for me for the rest of the year. But I'm thinking, got another one booked in March, and hopefully if this training goes well, I can PB again here. But I came 34th, you know, so for me that was a good time, but I was surprised how low down I came, which was an indication of how many people, quick runners, come here to try and do exactly that, to try and PB, and you can't really blame them. Such a
nice place to run through. Do a great job in terms of organising everything, and yeah, it's because of how good the runners are, you can get caught up with the speed of the race, and often helps you achieve your goals. Yeah, and I can remember, I don't think I've been in a race where I've been overtaken so many times as I was in that last race. Obviously went off a bit too hard. Here's the athletics track. You see, you sometimes start and end in these on the track. I know in the half marathon recently, we did a loop of the track at the end. Sometimes you even start here, which is kind of nice. Good for spectators. They can just sit nicely and wait. Although an hour, 21 minutes is quite a long time to wait. My kids would not wait that long, that's for sure. Anyway, going back to the shoes. So today I've got on my Superblast 1s. Like I said in the intro, I haven't bought the 2s, and I know a lot of people have been asking me about them, and literally I'm not sure I can justify them, to be honest, from what I've read. I mean, put in the comments if that's not correct, but from what I've read, the uppers changed, and I know it's okay. I know the midsole's changed as well, but lots of people who've used the shoe, have commented that the performance gains haven't been that much over the original, which does seem strange given that it's got the FS Turbo Plus, and having used that in the Metaspeed shoes, it's an incredible foam. It does make me wonder if they've used a slightly different version of it for the Superblast. Obviously with those shoes you do have the plate as well, which will make a difference. So that might be the reason why, those shoes feel so good. And also the plate position. I know the Sky Paris, for instance, got a higher plate than the Edge. And with the Sky, you really do feel like it's bouncing you along. Whereas the Edge, you feel like the rocker and the geometry is helping you a bit more in that shoe than the plate. Although still great shoe to run in, great feeling. So going back to Superblast and Superblast 2, arguably some of the best marathon training shoes out there. What's unique about this shoe, despite not having a plate, is the energy return you get from it. It pings you along lovely because of this foam, and also how light it is. Such a light shoe, you feel like when you put it on you think it's going to be heavy because of how big it looks, but actually so light, so lovely and light to wear. There aren't many daily trainers like this. They give you so much good cushioning. I think the stack's around 44mm, maybe 45 in the heel. I think it's an 8mm drop, so you got a sort of late 30, 38, something like that, 37, 38, depending on the heel stack in the forefoot. So you've got a massively cushioned shoe that weighs around about the 250 gram mark, which is lighter than shoes like the Cielo, which is classed as a racing shoe, lighter than the Mac X2, lighter than pretty much all, like the Balos, lighter than, definitely lighter than the More V5, all these shoes, lighter than the Nova Blast. So it's quite a unique shoe really, and that's why it kind of has this cult following amongst runners, particularly heavier runners who compress the foam get that nice compression and decompression. I always felt early on in this, with this shoe, felt so firm and hollow, and as a lighter runner I just don't think I was compressing the foam enough. And as the foam has broken in, I'm definitely compressing it more, and it feels a lot better now. I had to put an extra insole in the shoe because it was too firm at first. And a lot of people have used the Superblast also had that complaint about it feeling firm and hollow. And I think, unfortunately, you do need to break the foam in on the original Superblast. I'm not sure about version 2. Please put in the comments if the Turbo Plus foam means that you don't have to break it in anymore, which is a massive advantage over the first version, if that is correct, which took me about 50 miles to break in, which really is way too long. So yeah, so all in all though, once broken in, really love this shoe, one that anyone can use for their marathon training. I've run a 20-mile race in this shoe, and I did pretty well in that race. You know, I didn't use a super racing shoe, I used this shoe. I was coming back from injury, and I wanted to use a shoe that would be stable. It was an ankle injury, and protect me with lots of cushion. So I thought, yeah, I'll use this shoe, and it did really well. And I nearly used it for London. I kind of switched at the last minute and picked the Cielo, just because I thought my ankle had healed enough to cope with the Cielo, and also just because Superblast officially is breaking the World Athletic rules, but over 40 millimeters of stack height. And I know people are saying that doesn't matter for non-elite athletes, but I kind of feel a duty somewhat to run in something that's legal. Although I have run in the Primate Strut before in a marathon, so I've broken that before. So yet again, I'm talking shit. But I think the idea is, if you can run in something legal, do so. Just feels the right thing to do for a marathon. But who really cares? Really, you should pick a shoe that you love to run in, one that's fun and effective, and Superblast is a good pick in that respect once you've broken it in. Before that, it can feel very hollow and firm, and I don't think I've ever run in a shoe that's changed so much after mileage and then the Superblast. You know, it went from being a shoe that I hated to the shoe that I couldn't do without, and I did the majority of my London marathon training in this shoe because of how stable it is as well. It's another feature. And last on the shoe, before I sign off, is just how robust and durable the shoe is. I mean, I must have got over 400 miles on this now, and there's no breaking apart, there's no degradation that I can feel. Shoe feels better than it did day one, as good as it did after 50 miles, and still going strong, as is runnable Ed. And with that slightly corny ending, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.